Hey everyone, it's Nick with Us versus Herd. If it's your first time here, you like the content, hit subscribe. If you want to get notifications from when we go live or post videos, tap the bell. And if you want to get connected with the UVH fam, links are below to our Discord along with our free options trading group. Doing a later night stream here. Wanted to get my watch list, aka kind of week ahead video going. We got a lot to, well, we have a lot to cover here. As you know, on Friday, Dow was down about 200 points, and S&P's closed down. SPY closed down $1.31. You know, kind of got rejected here at the 300 mark. If you're here right now, say what up. Man, wasn't really expecting a big crowd tonight. Jeff, what's going on? Tactical options trading, what up? Yeah, I was kind of on the fence. Like, should I go live? Should I just post the video? Should I? I was like, you know what? We're gonna do this all at once. We're gonna do the video. We're gonna go live, and I prefer to go live, mainly to get connected with all of you because it's a lot more fun. We out here on the late night. Yeah, we don't sleep. Some traders go in Monday and then they just go in. We got to prepare. We got to prepare for battle here. You can't just like sit down a minute before market opens and hope for the best. You got to plan things out mentally. For me, mentally, Sunday night going into the week, it's a big, just kind of reset, kind of think of what happened last week, what was the good things, what are the bad things, and moving into this week, what you can do to harness your strengths. Love what's up with the shades. So the shades block out like the blue light from the screen. So after a long day, and especially right now, I also have like a light to kind of light up, make things lighter. I use the shades to. It's basically for the screens. After looking at the screens for a long time, definitely helps with that. Definitely would recommend getting them if you don't have them. If you stare at your screens or your mobile phone at like night, iPad at night, all that kind of stuff, like in bed, like I definitely recommend these because definitely it's a lot easier on your eyes. But getting into things right now, this week we have a full stacked earnings week. This is a major week. Kind of off the top of my head here, what I'm looking at is McDonald's, Snap. I made a whole list here. UPS, which I'll go through these. Boeing, Microsoft, Tesla, PayPal, Amazon, Twitter. I mean, this is not. Yep. What's going on? I'm probably gonna butcher your name here, Fario. You got 6 calls an apple. What's going on? So, what I'm looking at here is I currently have positions on IBM, CGC, and GS. However, those positions are not. I'm not saying they're not looking. I have the 200. I have the 200 put on GS, and I was anticipating it to be a little bit more downward here. They missed earnings, but the rest of the banks are doing well, so this is kind of coming up with it. It does look kind of weaker here on the 1 year, but they keep trying to save it. Every time it dips down, they save it, dip down again on Friday. So dip Thursday, they saved it, dip Friday, they saved it. And I was looking at like 202, 204 area. The other one that I was looking at is IBM. IBM, I have the 130 puts. They didn't have very good earnings 1 year. 1 year is still looking good. I was looking forward to kind of revisit this area. However, like GS, the dips have been getting bought. It's been getting stopped out here like 134.50 though. So, we'll see. The one thing about IBM you have to be careful about when shorting is a lot of institutions own it. So when something is institutional owned like IBM, it's tough to short. J-Rob, what's going on? Glad you're here. If you're here right now, say what up. We working tonight. We working tonight. And then going into, I also am looking at, well, my other position is CGC. I have the 21 calls for next week. I was looking forward to revisit the 2150 area. However, Friday we had a lot of weakness, but it got bought up in the afternoon. So we'll see what happens here. Still got my calls in IBM. Yo, Joshua, what's going on? TD earnings tomorrow after hours. Yep, we'll be looking at TD as well. What's going to be interesting with like the brokerages, I feel, with like TD Ameritrade and all them, is guidance, is how are they going to prepare for charging zero commissions on stocks and less on options. So I think that's gonna be very interesting. Personally, I'm kind of interested in Johnson and Johnson. And Boeing. Boeing has earnings this week, but Johnson & Johnson made some money on it last week on the call side. However, they got, let's see here, they had a recall of baby powder after tests revealed traces of asbestos. So I think J&J is going to possibly be a good play next week. It's coming back down here to the support area. After good earnings, it started to break out, but then after they had the recall, we're back down here at these levels. But we've been having some wide swings here on the dailies and big gap ups and obviously some gap downs here. So the one thing that I will say about J&J is that you will find some cheaper options in here. For next week, these are definitely, these will definitely be a lot cheaper probably next week. Once if this flattens out, these are kind of expensive compared to historically what J&J is at. But if it comes get a little bit flat on Monday, this premium will go down a lot for next week. These were up a lot, but it had a 7% down move, 6% down move. Yeah, Boeing. What happened to them? They said the Federal Aviation Administration said the aviation and defense contractor withheld concerning messages from 2016 between employees about a flight control system tied to 2 fatal crashes for the 737 Maxes. So, yeah, I think Boeing be looking at as well. Their 1 year is also really messed up due to all the news. This is not looking good. But Boeing is still one of those. They still control a lot of the flight. So, I definitely think that if it could possibly come down to 330, 320, I would definitely be cautious of being short down in this area. We'll see what happens. I'm not trading until after earnings. So Boeing has earnings on Wednesday before open here. But going into, so I'm not looking. TD Ameritrade is one, but normally I would buy calls on BA, but I'm worried about that earnings. Yeah, right now IB is going to be. Obviously, you can see here IV's getting really inflated down here. McDonald's. So McDonald's reports before open on Tuesday, and they're kind of interesting on the 1 year here. Obviously, McDonald's has been having a huge year. Coming from 182 all the way up to 221. However, this area they just couldn't break above this area, and now it's in a descending pattern here on the 1 year. We had a high of 220, and now we're at a high of 215, and now we have a high of 213, and here we are at 208. So I think that this earnings, they've been doing fairly well for earnings. However, last earnings they gapped up, moved up, and then gave it back before moving back up to 220 area. So it's going to be interesting to see if they go back up to 220 or if they're going to come down to like 200, maybe even 195 area is what I'm looking at on McDonald's. UPS, they also report earnings before open on Tuesday. Now, if you guys remember, FedEx had a lot of problems last quarter. A lot had to do with them and their Amazon partnership, and they've been kind of struggling all year. Versus UPS. UPS is doing fairly well. I mean, they've had some, they went down to 89, back up to 123. Last quarter, they did amazing. They went from 105, and then in a couple days, they went basically up to 120, but really didn't get any higher than that. And it's really just been kind of chilling here. So I think, my strategy for earnings is I always trade after earnings. It's just the way that I like to do it. I find out it's easier for me to trade after earnings because I find out what's in the report, I find out what's in the conference call, and then I trade based on where the chart is and which direction is planning to go. So that's the way that I like to. But there's a lot of people that do a lot. You can make money selling credit spreads, King Jacob. You can make money. The one thing that I get concerned about right now is they've been going a little bit beyond the expected move. Netflix last week, I think they were. Last week, I think they had like a $28 expected move. It went from 286. It did hit 318 after hours, which is like up in here, but only opened at like 305. So it was like a $20 move. So that was within the expected move. But charts are crazy right now based on the trade war and the volatility we've started to experience. So. And the 1 years are still pretty crazy because last October, November, December, and even January, things were crazy. Yeah, Alta took a big hit last week. Yeah, they went from they touched 250 and got rejected hard. Yeah, I don't know how's Alta's liquidity doing because they've been. We'll see what the weeklies bring in. You got to be cautious about Alta because you want to make sure there's good volume. Otherwise, you might get stuck like a 285 to 320 bid and ask, a little bit too wide for me. 220, 215 is not that bad. 310, 285. I'm not liking that. So you got to be careful. I don't really like when it goes 20 cents plus, even 15 cents. I prefer capping out my bid-ask spreads by like 10 cents. 40 cents for in the money. You'll probably get a decent price on mid-price, but sometimes you gotta force it a little bit. Snap as well. Snap has earnings. Now this is a little bit of a cheaper stock. But their chart, they've been having a pretty great year. They've gone from $4 up to 18, hit 18 twice up in here, and kind of double topped, and now we're back at 13. They got some bad news, not necessarily bad news. They started moving last week. I think there was like a rumor, like a buyout rumor or something, and then they found out that wasn't true. So that's why that came back down. But it's going to be interesting now that we're below this 14 mark here, if this is going to continue lower to 12 or 11, or if earnings is going to save them. Last quarter earnings did them very well. They did pretty well the quarter before that, and the quarter before that they did well. But I don't know what your guys' thoughts on that. It's kind of one of those stocks. CMG, I don't really trade that much because it's also the bid and the ask is a little bit wide. They also report earnings Tuesday after close, and the premium, they're expected a $64 move, which is a lot, for $841 stock. But they've been doing well. They actually just got an upgrade because avocados are getting cheaper, and as you guys know, they do sell a lot of guacamole. So we'll see what happens here. Quite the comeback from 382 to 857. So they'll probably do well. Do you ever, Joshua? Do you ever trade SPY expiration Mondays or Wednesdays? Yes, I do. However, I've been in the last week or so. I haven't been trading it that much, mainly due to the Trump tweets and the impacts of the trade news. So I kind of got away from that until the trade news died down, because when you're trading same day expiration, things get things get a little turned up, and then you have if a tweet or something screws your position up, then you have to work twice as hard to get back to where you know, back to profitability. So check FL earnings 11.1. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it looks like a dump coming. I mean, they haven't been doing very well. Obviously, Foot Locker in terms of retail, it looks like it wants to retest this area. However, if they do well in earnings, they could definitely fill this gap here in terms of Foot Locker. Alex, no, most of my plays lately have been just buying calls and puts, just naked. I haven't been doing a lot of spreads. Apple's their earnings isn't for not till October 30th, so we'll see what happens with them. I mean, obviously they're at all-time high, so they need to do well. They need to do well, which they probably will. But I think a lot of that is baked into their price by now because of all the good press around the iPhone 11 being dropped. So Microsoft. On that note, Microsoft has earnings as well. Now, Microsoft is one of the few, I wouldn't say few companies, but in terms of hardware and software, I mean, they've absolutely just been crushing it this year. They're up like 40%, and this has been consolidating in this range. For people that are short, I would be scared of this because it's been consolidating in this range after we had massive move from, basically 100 straight up to 140. It's been consolidating in this range for like 3 months now, building a very strong base in here. So I anticipate they're gonna have, obviously this is my opinion, they're gonna have strong numbers in the cloud game, Office 365, Windows 10, all that. Also with the holiday season approaching. Also, be aware in January, Windows 7 is going to be deprecated. They're making sure that everyone's upgraded to Windows 10 by January 2020. So that's going to be a big push and a lot of money for them because they're going to stop supporting Windows 7 in terms of security updates, and everyone's going to be moving to Windows 10, which is going to be a big push for Microsoft in terms of revenues. So, yeah, guys, if you like the content so far, I'd appreciate it. Do me a favor for the YouTube algo. Hit the like button. Thanks, Jeff. So, not to get super bullish on Microsoft, but you gotta be mindful about this area of consolidation. I mean, they've been holding this area. People say, hey, they keep getting rejected. In my opinion, this is looking like it's stabilizing for the next leg up. You think if companies like Tesla and Amazon report bad news, it could tank the market? Tesla, not really, but Amazon, yes. Tesla doesn't really move the market like that. But going into Tesla, they do have earnings. It's on my list here. Man, this is a busy week. They do have earnings after close on a Wednesday as well. Now they filled this gap here from the last earnings. It was able to recover from the last drop from like 260 down to 230 in the last quarter, but it got rejected in this area again. So we'll see what happens. If it can't push above here, it's obviously gonna be bearish. If we're basically testing this area again, if it can't break above this, it's gonna be bearish for sure. What do you think of ISRG earning continuation? Yeah, I was looking at them last week. I didn't trade them though. Yeah, I mean, there are options. I mean, they got pretty liquid options in here. I don't really trade them that much, but I mean, it's most likely going to retest the highs up here. I mean, that based on the chart, in my opinion. Or premium super rich right now. I wait for that to die down a little bit. However, IV's pretty much down. $17 expected move. I mean, that thing just ripped. I'd hope for a couple flat days so you can get some cheaper premium. Like for me, I'm more of like trying to find a good deal versus trying to find, FOMO and just trying to jump in. I find that when I take the time to look for a good deal, I have a higher probability of being profitable. So a lot of times you try to catch a wave and you may not get the best deal and you overpay and then you experience flatness or something and that option automatically gets crushed, you're going to have some problems. You think UVXY bull calls would be good this week? If then it depends on what the news is, really. I mean, this thing has been getting crushed here down to 21. I have to do another split. Yeah, I'm not gonna recommend getting calls on UVXY. I mean, we can take a look, but I'm not gonna recommend that. It's not. I think there's so many other opportunities that are probably better. Amazon. So Amazon reports earnings Thursday after close. We'll be looking at that as well. They've been struggling here since hitting 2035. They've really just, last quarter was lackluster and just been on a decline ever since then. So these guys, charts like this, these guys need to have good earnings or it's going to possibly go to like 1600 area. Like Amazon has been definitely lagging behind in this sector, and it's not that it's doing bad this year. It hasn't really done anything. So since the start of the year, I guess the thing is, I don't necessarily think that it's safe to gauge how stocks are doing it this year because we had such a massive drop at the end of the year. But bigger picture, I mean, it's really not really doing a whole lot of anything. It's back to where it was, and now we're back below 1800, which, as you can see, last November is where we were having the most trouble. PayPal, they report earnings as well this week, and PayPal kind of a similar chart to Amazon, where last quarter was lackluster, and it's just for the last 3 months have just been paying for it. So this quarter they had a massive run here as well, and this quarter needs to be good. Otherwise, I mean, this is going sub 100 pretty easily. Caterpillar. Now Caterpillar, I just haven't traded this stock in a while, and a lot of people have traded it. Just in the past, it hasn't been my favorite stock, but looking at the swings in the daily here. Based on, if you didn't know, Caterpillar's hit with the trade news and the tariffs. So, this thing has been swinging pretty large. It went from 126 to 32, and premium I don't think is too expensive. We got earnings this week, but not too bad. But normally the premium isn't that expensive, but I mean, I think Caterpillar could really go either way. I mean, obviously they're still like in a descending form here, but you want to be careful with Caterpillar because they could still report good earnings, and you could definitely get in some trouble on Caterpillar. I mean, last couple quarters, this quarter they gapped down big from like 136 down to like 126, and last quarter it's hard to see, so it's so choppy. They gapped down from like 138 down to 132. The quarter before that, they went from 141 down to 140, so not a big deal. But this quarter here was kind of set the tone for the rest of this year. They've been pretty bearish most of the time. However, they have been having big recoveries, and as you can see, with the stock declining here and that trade news coming out with Trump saying, we have a phase 1 deal, even though no deal has been signed. So be mindful of that. No deal has been signed by China or the U.S. There's been no agreements. But even though it rallied from 117 to 132, so I definitely think this is a stock that personally, I should be keeping on my watch list due to the trade news, and also due to it just swinging this much. I mean, 111 to 134. I mean, this stock looks like it would be pretty good for not necessarily day trading. I mean, you could obviously day trade it, but swing trading looks like it was where Caterpillar comes in. What would be the best to do strangles or straddles on options that have earnings this week? Would it be best? Greatness, you gotta be careful about that you don't overpay in premium and they suck the premium right out of those calls and puts. The stock has to move for a strangle or straddle to pay off. The stock has to move way beyond the expected move for it to actually make money. Otherwise, you're gonna have to pay a lot of money. You're gonna be paying a lot of money in Ivy Crush. SPY's at 299. So right now S&Ps we're up 7 right now. SPY's at 298 right now, 298.98. So, what I've been saying about SPY lately though is I feel like the market, I mean, yes, it pushed up from 285 to 300, but the market is waiting for that catalyst, and I think the catalyst is a trade deal. And right now we don't know if we have a trade deal. DD1, what's going on? So I don't know what to tell you. Right now all I know is that we don't have a trade deal. And we could push back up to 300. I do think that we could probably retest 300, especially if we have good earnings and things are going well. And it's just this big cloud hanging. This big cloud hanging over our head is: are we going to get a deal or no deal? And Trump said that he's not going to sign any deal until he meets with President Xi in person, which is not till freaking November. I'll break my keyboard. I'm gonna break my keyboard over this. Yeah, the Fed's trying to save the day, but the Fed is running out of ammo. The Fed is running out of ammo. LRCX also has earnings. I actually traded this on Friday. It was my first time ever trading LRCX, and it's a chip stock. Kind of coincides with NVIDIA, MU, AMD, and all that kind of stuff. And LRCX has my first time trading it. I made 80% profit, so it's definitely, I'm going to be looking into it. Also, since last earnings, it's ran from 193 up to 244. I don't know if it's going to get top heavy and if the numbers are going to come in, but I've just started trading the stock, and it's a good stock to trade, day trades. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. They have earnings on a Wednesday after close. The China trade deal is exhausting keeping up with the trade deal news. I mean, it's ridiculous. But what are we gonna do? It's like every time the stock the stock market is tanking, Trump gets on there. It's like, hey, things are looking great. Things are looking great with the trade deal. I don't know if you guys saw. If you guys aren't a member of our Discord, we actually have a Trump tweet section, so we kind of archive everything, so you can kind of go through this. Even if he deletes a tweet, it's posted in here first, so you can kind of go through that. I also added some bots to the news to keep us updated with the news, and also for earnings reports, I have CNBC and Market Watch for their earnings reports. So I'm trying to make the Discord more useful and more of a tool, so we don't have to manually always go in and look up news and see what's breaking and see what's going on. So I'm trying to, if you guys have any other ideas for enhancements that I could add to Discord, definitely let me know. But yeah, I mean, I think this is gonna be a busy week. I mean, you could pretty much take your pick, but those are right now. Those are the top stocks that I'm looking at this week. You guys have any questions? Let me know. One thing that I will say, we are going to be dropping our first ever podcast this week, most likely on Friday. I'll keep you guys posted. It's going to be exclusively through our Patreon, and then a week later we'll be releasing the podcast out on Apple, Google, Spotify, and all that stuff. I think terminology page would be good for the Discord. Julio, you mean just like definitions in terms of like what stuff means? Like a kind of like a dictionary. I mean, Investopedia. Investopedia has a dictionary. I don't know how that would work in terms of Discord, but if you go to Investopedia, I mean, they have financial terms, or you mean something like this, where you can look up. They got a bunch of crap in here that doesn't really pertain to options trading, but they do have some, probably what you're looking for. JL, do they lower guidance? Yeah, I think actually, what was it? Gildan. Yeah, they so yeah, screen printing. So Gildan was, so yeah, if you are part of our Discord right here, you can also search any of this stuff here, so you can jump to this article right here. So Gildan stock down 26%, challenge degraded after profit warning. So pretty useful. So all this stuff is archived. You could search all this stuff as well. That's it. I did cover Johnson & Johnson earlier in the stream. I'm basically waiting for if it's going to bottom out here or if it's going to rip below. Is this going to go to 121 area? The thing of what's scary about Johnson & Johnson is that they reported good earnings even after they had all that trouble. That's what's concerning about shorting the stock, is now that they had another recall, they're still probably going to be profitable, which is kind of disturbing, because I mean if you think about how many brands does Johnson & Johnson own? We'll pull up Wikipedia, which is not the most accurate, but it'll give you an idea in terms of Johnson & Johnson. I mean, they own a lot of stuff. Actually, where is? I mean, they own all the stuff. So, you know, they're diversified. So people buy all this stuff. So just be aware. So that's why I'm hesitant to short it, because now we're back down here at support, and also based on last earnings, they had all those issues. And this last quarter, they reported last quarter, they had good earnings. They were expected to have $2, and they actually got $2.12 per share. So, what's the best strategy for buying options during earnings? I'm seeing 50-50. Greatness. That's why I buy after. It is 50-50. So I have a higher success rate after the earnings report comes out. So I'm looking at the stuff to trade after earnings, seeing what the setups are, and going that way. Let's see here. So, anyways, guys, it's been a blast. I gotta go get to work on some other stuff. You know, if you guys like the content, definitely hit the like button. I was actually surprised so many people showed up tonight. I just kind of just went live. Discord is free. Free, baby. We're never going to charge for Discord. I just want to connect with you. You can message me anytime on there. You know, feel free. You know, you guys stay safe, stay green. It's us versus herd. Screen printing, a link is in the description.